it's time for IP in the news. And I guess I really hadn't thought about it too much, even as an intellectual property lawyer, but it turns out that, you can get copyrights on tattoos.
Well, our daughter will be happy to hear that. And so will our son.
Well, I'm not sure that she's like the owner of the tattoo. It's really the person who creates the tattoo that owns the copyright
Well, that's
on
right,
that.
because the article says that this artist did it on another person,
Right.
right?
Right. So the way copyright usually works, unless you have an agreement to the contrary, copyright vests with the person who owns it, who's the creator. And so the person who creates it owns the copyright. So even if you pay for it, the tattoo artist, the tattoo artist still owns the rights in the tattoo. And so a couple of times, uh, tattoo artists have had their work so well regarded that other people, like especially in the gaming world, have copied that. So, for example, a lot of uh, athletes have tattoos on their arms, and their people value those tattoos. And sometimes people have actually tried to copy those tattoos and use them, for example, in video games. And so a court case came up related to this issue where a tattoo artist sued a video game company because they were using his art.
Well, in
And
this case, this one I have, it was Catherine Alexander,
right,
and she had ink tattoos on WWE professional Randy Orton, and Take Two's WWE 2K videos game series used his likeness with the tattoos. And she said all she wanted was a license. She wanted recognition. She wants to get paid for her work, right?
right. And she ended up winning, which is unusual because in the past courts had not really recognized uh, the copyrights in tattoos. And so this is the first time that happened. And she won like 300 or $3,670. So it wasn't like a lot of money. Probably barely covered her legal fees, but it's now a step in the right direction, I guess, for tattoo artists who want to, uh, you know, protect their work. So very kind of an interesting case.
So let's go to Richard's roundtable.
I think that's a wonderful idea. And so first, Stu, what do you think about this? Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. What do you think
Thank
about tattoo art and copyrights?
Well, I have a question back for you, Richard, because in hearing you talk about it, the first thought that went through my mind is like, what if it's a collaborative effort from with the tattoo artist, but also with the person getting the tattoo? Like, who owns the copyright in that scenario? If somebody's coming and bringing the ideas, and then the artist is bringing those ideas to life, that's what got me thinking about, in this case.
Yeah, in that case, it would be a co-authorship kind of arrangement, and they would both have rights to exploit the work. And typically, you don't have to get the permission of the other person to do that. So the question is, but that said, the other person would still have the right to seek remedies from a third party. So in that case, if you're collaborating on the tattoo, and the person who has the tattoo on their arms decides not to pursue it, the person who actually created the tattoo and put the artwork on your arm, they still have rights to pursue it. So it does make it more complicated, but there is an answer to that question. And I guess the WWE person probably didn't want to pursue it because they already had licensed their likeness and they didn't want to upset the people that they were working with, right? So by suing them.
It's interesting. I think regardless, what is made clear for me is to have that conversation up front with whoever you are working with, if it's a tattoo artist in this case, just so everybody's clear on that.
Absolutely.
Right. And just knowing the nature of the business, probably people don't really think about it. I don't know that the tattoo artist would, think about it. I'm sure there's a lot of copying and, ideas moving among tattoo artists. They look at others' work and they get inspired by it. So it kind of creates kind of an interesting situation, I think. So, yeah, so that's a great question. Kenya, what are your thoughts?
So I have an embarrassing copy tattoo story. So when I was
Oh, goody. I can hardly wait.
so when I was 17 years old, I got a tattoo without my parents' permission, and it was a stupid tattoo of a character. I will not say what, because to this day I'm like, why did I ever do that? But it did belong to a very famous like entertainment company, right? What's interesting though is when I got this tattoo, my tattoo artist was never like, "Oh, you can't use this particular character because you're not allowed to use this image or the likeness of this brand," which it never even crossed my mind until you actually brought this story up. So it does happen a lot in the tattoo space. People copying other art, people using characters that belong to, other companies. So oh wow, I didn't realize like that was a thing. But now I'm like, I was such a culprit. Truth be told, now the tattoo is gone, it's lasered away, and it's covered up, so I don't have it anymore. But I was definitely one of those culprits.
You were a walking infringer, is what you were.
I was.
Wow. Well, we never knew this about you, Kenya, all these years, and you never told us about this, covert tattoo that
And
you
I
had.
bet you'll never guess what the tattoo is, and I'll never tell. I think only Norris probably knows, but
Uh-oh, you're taking it to your grave.
So, Don, what do you think about all this stuff?
Well, I'm just interested. It's curious when your tattoos on somebody who's fit, and then all of a sudden, as that person ages,
Oh.
the tattoo's it's gonna change. It's gonna morph. All of a sudden, what do you do then?
Well, that's an awesome question, because if the image changes, is there still a copyright infringement? I don't know if I have a good answer to that one or not, but
Yes.
yeah, I guess if you're worried about damages before the trial, you should gain or lose some weight and change the image, and then maybe you can argue non-infringement. I think that's pretty good. Noah, what are your thoughts on this?
I've got a few points. The first point I think is just the medium of tattoos, right? I mean, in 2023, we're talking about a different landscape from a copyright of art, right? 40 years ago, this case wouldn't probably have been heard when you have 3, 4, 5% of people with any ink on them. Now that it's a much more popular art form, I think you could see a lot more of these cases sort of coming to the surface. The second question or comment I would make is, how unique is the art? How unique is what the artist put on the WWE participant? A lot of pro athletes have the John 3:16. I don't think you can copyright that, but it would be interesting to see how unique the art is. And then finally, as a recovering attorney, I'm not sure of the deterrent value of a $3,600 award, unless they awarded attorney's fees. Better to ask forgiveness than permission. And I think in this case, where they might have to pay $3,600, I'm not sure if it was worth the battle. I don't know how long the case took, but there's cost and time involved, and I think it would be interesting to see what that analysis was.
Yeah, you raised some amazing points, and it was actually a jury trial. So
wow. So 3,600 definitely didn't cover it.
I mean, that's a lot of people's time to make this decision, right? And so that's pretty amazing. And you're right. I mean, one of the things that the article quotes is that the number of tattoos, it says here, and this is from IP Watchdog, by the way. This is an intellectual property law site that's been around for a long time, but it says, according to 2021 data, roughly 13% of baby boomers had at least one tattoo, compared to 32% of Gen X and 41% of millennials. So your comment about tattoos becoming more popular, and this now becoming a bigger issue because the popularity of tattoos is well taken. And so I don't feel so bad now when both our kids have tattoos. And I grew up as a boomer, maybe even a little beyond that. And I was kind of mortified when they got them, but I guess that they're pretty normal now. So I guess we shouldn't make too big a deal out of that.